I wanted to take a break from my rounds, just to sit with them for a bit. And I wanted to tell you a story. It's a story about being big, but feeling small. And it's a story about remembering exactly what you're made of. This is the story of a giant named Ben. Ben is a Clydesdale. And when I say he's big, I mean he's enormous. He's the size of a small building, with feet like dinner plates and a nose as soft as velvet. He's part of the engine room that built Scotland. His ancestors didn't just pull ploughs, they walked the docks of Glasgow. They hauled the timber and the heavy plates for the great ships on the River Clyde. But even giants can get sick. Ben had to come to the Wiper Centre this winter for a big operation. Surgery's tough on the big lads. Ben had made it through the operation. He'd made it through the recovery box. He was safe. And he was back in his own stable. But he still felt rubbish. The anaesthetic was hanging heavy in his head. His legs felt like lead. For a horse that weighs nearly a ton, feeling weak is a terrifying thing. Ben lay in his deep bed of shavings, right here in a stable just like this one. He closed his eyes, and then he had a dream. In his dream, the stable roof opened up to the starry winter sky, and he heard a sound, clang, clang, clang. It wasn't the sound of hooves on turf. It was the sound of metal on metal. Galloping through the night sky, coming all the way from Falkirk, were the kelpies. You know the ones. In Ben's dream, they came to life. They thundered down into the hospital. They stood over him, blocking out the moon, their steel skin gleaming with rivets and light. They lowered those massive metal heads down to Ben. They breathed steam into his face, and they whispered to him. They said, "Ben, you're not just flesh and bone, you're made of iron and river's steel." They reminded him the spirit of the shipyards runs through his veins. They reminded him that he was built to pull and to push and to endure. "Get up," the steel horses whispered. "The iron is in you." When Ben woke up, the dream was gone. The kelpies were back in Falkirk. But the strength remained. Ben took a deep breath, filling those massive lungs. He planted his front feet in the shavings. He pushed, he rocked back, and then heave. He stood up. His hooves made a thunderous sound on the floor. Boom. The stable shook just a little bit. The vet on duty looked in, amazed, but Ben just shook his mane and looked for his hay net. The iron was back in him. That is the kelpie's gift. It is resilience. It is the ability to stand up again, even when we feel heavy, and even when we feel weak.